Hello everybody, it's Mr.Harland today. I'm only going to be making one video today because this is going to be quite the doozy to go through, and it's a long one. As you probably heard, last year everybody, a student at a high school named Brendan, this is a nice setting, even though it's still summer. But someday the snow will make sense. Just saying. A student by the name of Brendan Depa attacked him. He went viral at the time when he was 17 in a viral video recorded of him attacking Joan Nadich, a paraprofessional at Matanzas High School in Palm Coast. Recently, as of August 6, 2024, he's been sentenced to 5 years in state prison and 15 years probation. Depa, who turns 19 on August the 22nd, has pleaded no contest currently. Well, he had pleaded no contest to a charge of aggravated battery on a school board employee. He faced up to 30 years in prison initially. Assistant State Attorney Melissa Clark presented her case during the first part of the sentencing on May 1st. Depa was 17 on February 21st, 2023, when he attacked Joan Nadich, a paraprofessional assigned to him at Matanzas High School. I probably pronounced that high school name wrong. I've never heard of such a name for a high school. In Palm Coast, Florida. According to state sentencing guidelines, the lowest permissible sentence for DERPA would have been 34.5 months in prison, which worked out to 2.87 years. Wow. Okay. After the hearing, Leanne Depa criticized the sentence. They are punishing that he is black, they are punishing that he is large, and they are punishing his disability. Well, it has nothing to do with his race. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's large. It has to do with the fact that he beat someone near to death over a Nintendo Switch. A fucking Nintendo Switch. But anyways, let's just keep on going. She said the school district failed Brendan Depa and that his behavioral plan was not followed. I think he needs help, absolutely. I think he needs help. And I think he needs treatment. But I don't think he needs to be put away in a prison where he's going to be taken advantage of or harmed. Well, Leanne Depa, he's probably going to be put in like freaking separation. I see no reason to worry. Circuit Judge Terrence Perkins sentenced Brendan Depa to 5 years in state prison, followed by 15 years of probation. Depa swung his head back when the judge announced the 60-month sentence. As he pronounced the sentence, Perkins said that he had not heard Brendan Depa express remorse at any time. Depa turned to his attorney and motioned to a paper, but the attorney said something to him. The attorney earlier had said Depa wanted to make a statement to the court, but had changed his mind. Everyone has seen the video, Perkins said. It captures the senseless extreme violence in a troubling way. The judge cited testimony from a state witness who said Depa knew what he did was wrong. Compounding the senseless physical violence was the screaming of obscenities, spitting on Miss Nadich, both before and during the incident. He pursued her down the hallway, pushed her so violently from behind, and that she flew through the air and was knocked unconscious when she landed in the hallway floor. He then proceeded to kick her and then jump on top of her, striking her in the head and body more than 15 times, Perkins said. Perkins adjudicated Depa guilty. Perkins also ordered that the Department of Corrections conduct a full mental health assessment of Depa and develop a care plan for him. Depa will get credit for the time he has spent in jail, approximately 17.5 months. Teflik said the state attorney's office could have kept the case in the juvenile system, but opted to move it into the adult system. Depa has his head laying on the desk. His attorney's assistant has her hand on his back. Now Depa has raised his head a few inches off the desk. Tefik asks whether the public interest requires a prison sentence. He said the video was shocking, but add to that this is a disabled child, and look at how perception shifts. Tefik refers to testimony that the attack was a manifestation of a disability. I don't think so. Judge Perkins asked whether Tefik is saying that anyone who suffers autism is aggressive and violent. That's not the case. Tefik said no. Perkins said that was his point. Tefik said that sentencing Brenda Depa to prison is not a graduated sentence. Tefik said that the adult prison's goal was to stabilize inmates to get them back into the general population, not for them to have long-term success. Tefik said that Depa had been gifted this. It's not his fault, Tefik said. Clark is back up saying Depa must be punished. He almost killed a woman. He should be punished for that, Clark had said. She said Brendan Depa can provide treatment for him. Clark is assisting for 7 years. Is asking for, well, he had asked for 7 years in prison. 7 years followed by a long term of probation at the defense tape. Depa appeared to pray, crossing himself again. Judge Perkins gave both the prosecutor and the defense 15 minutes each. Clark said Depa was still acting violently at the residential treatment facility. Clark said that before the attack on Natick, Depa was involved in a school fight on a school bus, but Clark said that he was shown the ability to control himself and had 97 days of good behavior at the group home. She said Depa had 3 disciplinary reports while at the Flagler County Jail, only one having to do with violence. He pummeled an unconscious woman, Clark said. I counted 15 times that he punched her while she was completely unconscious, Clark said. But for those 5 people pulling him off, I don't think she would be here today, Clark said. He chased her and viciously attacked her, she said. While Clark speaks, Depa is bent over on his seat looking straight down. Clark said Natick suffered broken ribs and a concussion and has PTSD from the attack. She can no longer work at a school. Depa made the sign of the cross and sat up in his chair. Clark continues saying that Depa threatened to kill Natick and later blamed Natick for the attack, and said no one pulled him away faster. The lack of remorse is frankly just shocking, Clark said. He is dangerous, Clark said. Natick is sitting in the gallery. Clark said the primary purpose of the judicial system is punishment, and Depa should be punished. Clark is asking for the prison followed by a long term of probation. A juvenile probation officer is now testifying. He said that Depa had never been on juvenile probation or committed to the Department of Juvenile Justice or prison. However, he said Depa successfully completed a juvenile diversion program in 2019 for 2 misdemeanors. He did not give any details. The juvenile probation officer agreed with Tefik that the goal for Depa was rehabilitation. Which, for someone this violent, hopefully it works. If not, well, there goes taxpayers' money. I'm just saying. Clark asked the probation officer whether they had received records from the group home when they recommended youthful sanctions for depa. Clark asked that once Brendan Depa turned 21, DJJ would no longer have jurisdiction over him. God damn it. Jurisdiction. How the fuck did I boggle that? God damn it. He agreed they could not require him to do anything. State Attorney Melissa Clark asked psychologist Julie Harper, just as she asked autism expert Kimberly Spence about records that depa head-butted staff, punched a doctor, and threw a chair while at a residential treatment facility in South Carolina. Harper said she had seen the records. Clark asked about depa acting violently at the Palm Coast group home. Clark said he ripped a door off the wall at the group home and charged at staff. He got into a fight with another member. Depa seemed upset, gesturing with his handcuffed hands as he spoke to Tafik. Depa spoke quietly to his attorney's assistant. He is listening silently to her now. Through her questions, Clark was trying to establish that the prison system could provide the services Depa needs. Tafik asked follow-up questions about what kinds of services Depa would receive if he were sent to prison. Harper said she sees people in prison as part of her practice. She said the therapy is not geared toward the future. She said they don't reference past diagnoses and are focused on the present without the benefit of the history of the case. Julie Harper, a licensed psychologist, is now testifying for the defense via Zoom. Harper said that the brain is not fully formed until around the age of 25. Brendan Depa was 17 at the time he beat Nadich. She said a person of that age would be more likely to react emotionally rather than rationally. She said that personality is still developing and not established at the age of 17. She added that the youth are more likely to consider immediate rewards as they are making decisions. Harper described 17 as a middle adolescent period. She said there was plenty of evidence that Depa was developing like other 17-year-olds. While Harper testifies, Depa watches her on the large screen on the wall. At times, he leans over and talks to his assistants. Harper said Depa has exhibited irritability, which is often a way a child will express depression, and noted he is receiving medication for major depressive disorder. He's also receiving medication for anxiety. She said she thought this was the perfect storm of the combination of environmental support falling apart and Depa being overrun by symptoms. She said that after a month at Echo, they did not need to use mechanical restraints on him, and they showed he was responding. She said that she saw signs that Depa is making progress and no one is giving up on him. She said that when he did have problems, including this case, the behavior was considered a manifestation of his disability. Tafik asked if a placement with the Department of Juvenile Justice could address his needs. Harper said there would be a greater staff to defend the ratio at juvenile justice than in an adult prison. He will be warehoused, essentially just waiting for sentence to be over, Harper said regarding the state prison. Clark began by asking Harper about her fees. Harper said she charged $200 per hour, and she said she had worked about 16 hours on the case. Harper also charged $80 an hour waiting time when she is scheduled to testify. She has at least several hours of waiting on the case. Just drinking some water. Hold on. And also trying to figure out who's knocking on the door. What the fuck? There's no one, never mind. Anyways, let's get back to reading this. Judge Terrence Perkins asked the attorneys to introduce themselves, and then noted that he saw that Depa was in the courtroom. "Good morning, sir," Perkins said. Depa looked up, paused, and then looked at his attorney, who nodded. "Good morning," Depa said. Leanne Depa, an occupational therapist who adopted Depa when he was 5 months old, is now testifying. She said Depa needed a lot of attention and struggled in a daycare because the noise and activity there was really difficult for him. He was diagnosed with ADHD at an early age. She said he needed to be held all the time. It could go from 0 to 100 in seconds, she said about Depa. She said noise was also a big issue for Depa. Depa leans back a little in his seat, looks at the table, sometimes looking up. She said a school psychologist would try to help him. She said he never did well with children that were handsy and noise was always a problem. She took him out of school. She said she would homeschool him, but worked part-time and had a college student that would help him. She said getting him away from the noisy, handsy environment at a public school was good. She said he did better at home anyways. And that is the end of this long, rather somewhat long article. If you like today's video, feel free to subscribe, like, share with family and friends, and leave a comment in the comments section down below as for what else you would like to see. This is just going to be one video for today. That'll be all it is, because I've been rather busy and I'm still somewhat tired from that. And yeah, see you next Monday. Goodbye, my superstars. See you next Monday. And we'll be talking about the origin of the uncanny intruder picture. Police sketch, specifically that one. And yes, it has an origin. It comes from Missouri. But anyway, see you next Monday.